Hello and welcome. This is Ayana Lahi, and I'm so very happy to welcome you in this week's episode of Be One, Be You. We are diving into the theme, healing the shame of humiliation. We've all been there. We've all been judged. We've all been looked at in moments of our life with sometimes curiosity, wonder, despair, judgment, criticism. Shame is the deepest, most hidden, energetic emotion that exists. It underlies everything. When you are judged, when you are not seen for who you are, when you are criticized, when what you are saying is ridiculed, you're not heard, and who you are is not received, your humanness receives that as a put down, as a deep, deep pain that we push down, we hide. We push it down into the depths of our body. And as we push down those awkward and humiliating moments, we feel as though who we are just isn't okay. And when we take the time to uncover those feelings that who we are is not worthy or important enough, or who we are matters enough, we can feel shamed. And many of you have grown up in families, situations, school moments where your shame comes up. And sometimes when we're shamed, it's to help us grow. Sometimes it happens because we're really judging ourselves and we feel shame, maybe because something about us doesn't look right. We don't have the right clothes on in the moment, and it feels really uncomfortable. And in those moments, it's just natural where we go to judge ourselves. When you feel humiliated in a moment, you want to come into your heart and pay attention, be present, zoom into your heart instead of zooming up into your head. Because as you come into your heart, there's a space there that is vast, like a large universe of acceptance. And deep in your heart is the knowingness that who you are is really amazing and beautiful, because that's just how we're created. When we turn against ourselves, that's when things start getting really, really difficult, very difficult, and very, very painful. So how are some of the ways that we become humiliated? How does humiliation happen? Well, the core of yourself, your soul, is a beautiful creation that is uniquely you. And like a snowflake, there is no other pattern, design that duplicates itself in nature. So each and every one of you are a unique design. And so when one unique design criticizes and judges or hurts or violates or abuses another unique design, it hurts because it's not truth. To come to know the truth about who you are from a space of heart, which means that you're not separating out and being in your head and thinking about something in separation from your heart mind, your heart being the brain that's connected to all dimensions, Your brain is connected to just a limited dimension, which is enough to live in your human body. But when you want to experience being beyond the human confines of duality, meaning what's opposite of yourself, the opposite of love is hate, the opposite of good feels bad. When you're wanting to move into a place of oneness, which is a place where the battles have ended, where you have grokked in to the space of light so deeply in yourself that you don't have to be pulled out into the counter opposite of who you are. Humiliation happens through being hurt. And people hurt each other, as you know. We judge other people, and in that judgment, it creates pain. Pain's passed on. If you've been judged and felt pain but never dealt with it, you'd pass it on. Someone who's judging you, passing that pain on to you. When someone is humiliated through sexual violation, sexual abuse, it's because it's been passed to the person who's abused you. And their pain inside has not been dealt with. When you are made to feel less than as a child than a parent or a sibling, another elder or a teacher, what happens is the spark of light within you grows dim. And as that spark of light grows dim inside, there's a shutdown. That internal flame is not pouring its creative fire into you to sustain your nervous system and the way your brain works. So your thinking body immediately reacts to self-judgment when you are triggered to feel what you felt in your early training, when your original blueprint in yourself was being created. For instance, perhaps you were made fun of, you were judged, and you felt as though you weren't smart enough because there wasn't anyone around you, there wasn't any support helping you to feel good about yourself. Perhaps you were used as a scapegoat for your parents' marriage. Perhaps they took stuff out on you and how humiliating it was, because all of us need to be really seen and validated for who we are. Perhaps you needed to feel better about yourself because you had a parent who would fight up against you. Perhaps you were smarter than them. Perhaps you were more compassionate. Perhaps you saw things in a more integrated, interconnected, and holistic way. So is the answer to create a tough skin around ourselves? No, but we do need to take care of the wounded or slighted part in ourself that experiences humiliation when a situation happens that re-triggers that original moment of being humiliated. You might want to take a moment right now and think back into yourself and think deep into the present of yourself, of a situation or a moment when you were humiliated and what you did. Did you leave the room? Did you cover up your tears? Did you act stoic? Did you cry? Did you isolate? And pay attention to how you respond to difficult situations in the present. Now, when you're being triggered, and take a few moments as you place your hands on your heart to feel into a new way, a way to support the you that was humiliated. And in that humiliation, there's shame to be who you are. And to feel through your hands on your heart how you shut down to yourself and shut down to avoiding another round of being hurt and feeling pain. Humans, just like plants, just like animals, we self-protect. And when we are ashamed to hurt us in order to devalue who we are, it's hard coming up from that. As you embrace the you that's in your heart that wants to hide or wants to be seen and heard, that's where you pay attention. The part of you that is humiliated is usually the essence of who you truly are. And we are walking around in a global culture of cover-ups. And to take off that layering of your own protective shields means that you have to be connected to a source of light within inside of yourself that is strong enough to take the place of shutting down or splitting off. Splitting off is when you go up into your head, and you'll notice that you get really good at it and you keep the same thoughts, the thought system, the pattern of repetition of how you repeat the same thinking over and over again to literally convince yourself of a way of thinking, existing, that can help you to survive. So when we are humiliated, our sense and source of self is ripped apart and it feels bad. And we don't want to look at it. We don't want to face it, but we then put that out on other people. And that hurts them. And then it makes us feel better. And it doesn't go anywhere. So it's violating and it's abusive. So to awaken to the detriments and the harm of abuse, we each need to heal the shame of humiliation, the shame being the deepest push-down response of not wanting to live, of not wanting to show up, of running. And where do we turn towards? Where do we see in the media the end of humiliation, the end of shaming? We want to turn to the part of ourself that aches and hold it in love. And I hold that part in you right now in love. Why would I do that? Because I really love you. Because you and I and you and the people around you, we're all connected. We are all connected through a higher, stronger love. As you shift into loving yourself from that higher, deeper, wider, more expansive embrace of yourself, you're able to embrace the shamed part in you. That shamed part in you, when you gaze into your deepest heart and go all the way down into your solar plexus, which is under your rib cage, right below the rib cage, in the center, in your navel, where you feel connected to the source of life, of how you felt, whether you were a wanted baby or emotionally not wanted. Perhaps parent wasn't ready to have children. Perhaps your presence brought up turmoil and issues between your parents. Perhaps you saw your parents turn fake because they just lost themselves in the marriage. And perhaps you got lost in the shuffle because they couldn't show up for you because they didn't know how to show up and be one and connected in themselves. And as you reach down into your lower belly, that's where we always block off the shame and the humiliation, because that's the emotional power center of deep personal power, deep creative power, and our sexual life force, the life force that burns brightly within sight of ourselves to generate life energy, our prana. There is a place inside of you in the lower belly where the you that was humiliated and shamed lives. And when you look to see him or her, you can see a being who is crying out for help. And as we rescue that crying part, or that very stoic part, or that very belligerent or angry part, and we give them life, we give that part in ourself love. And we have to be patient, because the part in ourself that's deeply humiliated and shamed hides so hard that you have to work so hard in your life to compensate for being disconnected to a spiritual power that you need in order to really make it in your life at the level that you really want without the ego. It's so easy to identify in your identity ego head of who you are. And that's what happens when humiliation and shame are not found and paid attention to and seen and embraced and then brought into our heart so that we can expand further into the very spiritual power, spiritual essence, the spiritual wisdom and knowledge that was humiliated, because people hurt other people because they want power. So healing the shame of humiliation is coming full circle with the spiritual power that is within inside of yourself, so that you can receive its presence and make your spiritual truth, your presence, available to you in your life. And it shifts your life from running, hiding, playing small, blaming, self-judging, listening to the critic voice in your head, and separating yourself out from your own spiritual power. All of us, at some point in our life, comes face to face with this true spiritual power that's within inside of ourselves. And so let that moment come soon for you. And if you've had that moment, really take this time to honor yourself and recommit to living in the truth, connection with you. Thank you so very much for being here with all of us. And joining with us. These are sacred times in very difficult and challenging evolutionary times of having to grow and learn how to individuate and also how to become one and break through the ways that we withhold from ourselves, from the source of life and each other. Please feel free to go and subscribe on my website, ayanalehi.com, and make sure that you sign up for the Living from Your Wild Heart free 52-week video series that gives a meditation and a movement and a wisdom teaching each week on the journey of moving through the planes of separation and duality and pain and suffering and fear into the light of oneness within yourself. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, sending you all of my love. This is Ayana Lehi.